The room was loud in the comfortable way families are loud. Plates clinking, laughter rising and falling in uneven bursts. My grandmother sitting at the center of it all, wearing that slightly overwhelmed smile older people get when attention becomes exhausting, but they don't want to admit it. 85. The number floated through the room like something ceremonial. Fragile. Important. My father moved between guests with restless energy, performing host more than being one. My sister hovered near Grandma, correcting details no one had asked about. It all felt familiar, layered with that strange mix of affection and tension that exists in families who love each other but never quite relax around each other. Nothing unusual. Nothing alarming. Which is why the whisper felt so out of place. My husband leaned in close, his voice barely audible under the noise. "Get your bag. We're leaving. Act like nothing's wrong." At first, I thought I'd misheard him. I turned slightly, expecting some hint of humor, some flicker that would signal exaggeration. There was none. His face wasn't panicked. It was focused. Tight. Controlled in a way that didn't belong at a birthday party. "What?" I mouthed, already feeling the heat of potential embarrassment crawl up my neck. "Just trust me. Not urgent. Not dramatic," which somehow made it more unsettling. Every social instinct I had resisted, leaving abruptly from my grandmother's celebration would trigger questions, interpretations. Stories that would live far longer than the event itself. My family was fluent in narrative creation. Still, something in his posture, the absence of theatrics, unsettled me enough to comply. I stood, forcing a casual expression that felt stiff and artificial. "I think I left something in the car." I said to no one in particular. No one paid much attention. That too felt normal. Outside the air was cooler, the noise of the house collapsing behind us into muffled echoes. We walked quickly but not conspicuously. It wasn't until we were both inside the car that the shift became undeniable. The doors locked with a sharp, mechanical click. My husband didn't start the engine. He didn't move at all. He was staring back at the house. Every muscle in his body seemed engaged in stillness. "What is going on?" I asked, the question finally escaping with the weight it deserved. His answer came slowly. Measured. "Something's very, very wrong. Fear is contagious in strange ways. Not through volume, but through certainty." I followed his gaze, searching for something concrete, a visible disturbance, an obvious threat. There was nothing. Just a house full of relatives celebrating cake and memory. "You're scaring me," I said, irritation beginning to surface as a defense mechanism. He shook his head slightly. "I know how this sounds," which was true. It sounded irrational, paranoid, detached from observable reality. And yet, he kept watching, not nervously, but with the tense attention of someone who had noticed a pattern I could not see. Minutes stretched. The silence inside the car thickened. Then he spoke again, quieter. "Did you notice your dad?" The question caught me off guard. What about him? The way he kept checking the windows. I hesitated. Because now that he said it, there had been something. A restless scanning, a subtle but persistent orientation toward the street rather than the guests. Small, easy to dismiss, but suddenly difficult to unsee. "And your sister," he continued. She wasn't correcting details. She was stalling conversations. My brain began replaying fragments, interruptions, topic shifts, movements that had blended seamlessly into the background of normal family dynamics. Until reframed. "You're reaching," I said, though the words felt less solid than they should have. "I hope I am." That answer landed differently. No insistence. No grand claim of being right. Just a calm acknowledgement of uncertainty paired with refusal to ignore instinct. Then, almost casually, he added, "Look at the car across the street." I turned. A dark sedan, engine running, no one inside. Something cold slid quietly into my stomach, because now the details began aligning in ways my mind could no longer comfortably scatter. The scanning. The stalling. The vehicle. "I don't like this," I whispered. Neither of us suggested going back inside. The idea simply ceased to exist as a reasonable option. "What do we do?" I asked. His answer was immediate. "You call the police." The sentence hung between us, heavy with implication. Calling would escalate everything. Transform vague unease into official intervention. Invite consequences impossible to predict or retract. Fear versus humiliation. Instinct versus social comfort. I stared at my phone, at the house, at the silent, waiting car across the street. Then I made the call. My voice sounded strange to my own ears, steady but thin, as if spoken from a slight distance. I described what we saw, what we felt, what we could not prove. The dispatcher's tone remained neutral, procedural, grounding. Officers would arrive. Please remain where you are. The waiting that followed was unlike the earlier silence. No longer uncertainty, but suspended consequence. When the patrol cars finally turned onto the street, everything changed shape at once. Lights, movement, authority made visible. The sedan across the street pulled away instantly. Too quickly, too precisely. Police vehicles reacted without hesitation. What unfolded next was fragmented, surreal, observed through layers of distance and disbelief. Questions, radios, controlled urgency. Later, explanations emerged in careful, incomplete pieces. A situation, an investigation. Someone connected distantly to a guest. Details neither simple nor cinematic, but real enough, serious enough. Inside the house, confusion rippled through my family like a delayed shockwave. Fear arrived not as drama, but as quiet recalibration. And standing there afterward, surrounded by shaken relatives and half-understood reality, I felt something difficult to articulate. Not vindication, not relief, but a subtle, lasting shift in perception. Because intuition, I realized, rarely announces itself with clarity. It often arrives disguised as discomfort, as inconvenience, as something embarrassingly easy to dismiss. And trust, real trust, sometimes means acting before understanding, even when doing so feels socially absurd. Especially then.